Fairly standard deployment from ANS. Looks like a heavy ship here, possibly a goalie DD. Looks like Talarix going through D, and also have the sea cap. Fairly balanced deployments on both sides. I do like this. This is the cheeky straight into A. Oh, never mind. That's Weeble. Suppose he's brought his beam battleship. And the Galileo is a frigate. I was wondering what was over here. Looks like a missile frigate. Yes. Let's see. It's rocking S2s. Mostly S2s. And over here would be more S2s. Interesting. Alright. Looks like a pair of hybrid gun missile voxels. Those are armed with S2s. Gonna guess a trio of gun CLs. Those both have S2 backpacks. This one also has an S2 backpack. That must have been a tight fit. Talarix bringing cannon and S2Hs, along with, this must be a spotting corvette, another spotting corvette. Yes, there's the spyglass. On the OSP side, we have a 450 and MLS3 launchers and containers on a pair of 450 line ships with an EWR scout. A 450 line ship with, looks like a hefty group of EWAR, PD, and 250 millimeter tugs. A plasma line ship, that's going to go with a 250 Ocello. 250 Ocello is not bringing the Omni Jam, and it's armed with 250. That's unusual. And with that, a capping shuttle and an EWR tug. Rounding out the team is a T-30 plasma. It's a pair. Oh, these are the Flying Crosses. Yes. A pair of T-30 plasma and 250 line ships, along with a pair of point defense tugs. Okay, so opening move wise, EWR tugs, getting a good look at the battlefield. ANS already has these cruisers, along with these scout corvettes moving up along the flank. So this would be a good contrast to the previous match, where we're only a couple of minutes in. Already the CLs have moved halfway up the flank. They will, in short order, be flanking around and putting pressure on these line ships. Meanwhile, line ships engaging this CL, it's going to be able to easily duck out of the way, and it takes no damage from that barrage. But these 450 line ships plus a rail, not sure what that came. Oh, this was not plasma. This was rail. Okay, with its own. No, it is plasma and one rail. Interesting. I suppose they're both long-range versions. It's just that plasma typically won't hit at such a long distance. Meanwhile, Weeble has sent one of his ships on a sojourn under the map. That could be a nasty surprise if he does make it all the way without being spotted. Some S2Hs look like they're going to contest the A cap, probably not arriving in time or on course. Let's see if he managed to dodge those. He did. That is unfortunate. But they might pick up... No, those are behind a rock. That is very unfortunate. Lots of missiles got launched and just miss. One is on target, not enough. S2Hs, not a whole bunch of damage being pumped out of them. Meanwhile, these CLs going to crest the ridge soon. They need to be careful. There are a lot of ships here, and they have turned. They do either know the CLs are there, or they suspect something. All of these have moved, or are moving to engage. Meanwhile, more missiles, unfortunately, missing. This shuttle making a clean getaway. Good job, shuttle. This is Cello and line ship combo. Look like they're doing a little bit of repositioning. Let's see what these CLs are able to do. They've come around the corner now. They definitely are being spotted. Let's see if these line ships are able to get on target before they can deal too much damage. Looks like they're locking up. Oh, here comes the 450, but missiles loose at the same time. Uh-oh. Looks like a friendly fire incident there. That's unfortunate. That blew off the 2 launchers and a PCC from its friendly hull. And not enough restores to get both of them back. That ties up a lot of missiles in the tubes there. Not sure. I suppose intelligence was not available. Overcommitted the launch on this one tug. Unless he knows something I don't. No, it is just an EWR. One possible thing to help out, especially on the ANS side, is if you take some Pinard support, maybe on these scouts, for example, you can very easily identify which ships are the EWR and which ships have search radars. That's definitely helpful in a situation like this. Unfortunately, these CLs have gone straight in, fully committing. Not sure if they don't realize what is here, or maybe don't realize how dangerous it is. They've gone and attempted to fight 3 players from the OSP side, which are all in a position to focus fire them. Missiles going out is probably not going to be able to pierce this combined PD firepower from all these ships, and they are all just punishing these CLs. So unfortunately, a little bit of overcommit there has managed to open up a cap for them, and also on the bottom of the map, some missiles have spotted out this line ship, which possibly has saved these two Vauxhalls from getting jumped on. Probably not able to translate that into a kill. They're running away quickly. Oh, these are very expensive S2s. That makes sense now why there's only 2 frigates in that fleet. They have weave, I would assume, really expensive sensors and cluster decoys. Which is unfortunate. They're not going to be able to deal catastrophic damage to that line ship. Let's see what this Axford is deciding to do. It's deciding it's going to launch some missiles and probably GTFO. Especially now that this T-30 line ship, it looks like it is starting to engage on this CL. Can this CL move out of the way of this hail of gunfire that's about to be upon it? The answer is not fast enough. Although a hybrid comes in and silences a lot of those guns. HEKP bow shots, they're only S2s, but they still went in from a devastating angle. Looks like one more is going to connect. And that is that ambush foiled. It did get a hefty chunk taken out of this CL. It should be able to repair, but it's definitely hurt. And it looks like this 450 hybrid Axford is going to turn in on this line ship and finish the job. Meanwhile, over here, this capping corvette has been spotted out by these frigates. Good job to this player. Don't know if I agree with making insanely expensive S2s, but he did play them to good effect. Meanwhile, this 450 Axford decides to shoot some more missiles, which are dodged. Hopefully, these CLs do come in and engage this line ship. That's really what they need to be doing, and finish that off. It is very out of position. It can't get support from any of the rest of the team. This is when you want to... Well, they're firing RPF at it. That is perhaps not the play. But it looks like they are going to keep enough pressure on it, at least to stop it from firing. Not sure about this play. This CL looks like it's rushing the B point all off on its own, deep into enemy territory. It's now being punished by this plasma rail combo ship. Unfortunately, that's not a lot of damage, but the Cicello is also coming in, and that does have plenty of damage. Meanwhile, more of these insane S2s coming in. They'll definitely be able to finish that off. Which leaves this 450 LN group one with this, well, I suppose it's another 450 LN plus escorts. One more T-30 plasma line ship and this fleet here. which should be, but is so far not trading favorably into this single CL. Looks like this CL is able to cut off that line of fire. Luckily for it, it's very damaged. And there goes the rest of that line ship. So at a glance, OSP in a good position, foiling that ambush and not losing the CLs that went into the mid. Definitely is very, very helpful. And they've managed to secure point A and are ahead. If they can transition this Axford into mid, they should be in a good position. I'm going to guess that, yes, these missile frigates are low on missiles. They didn't take very many to begin with. And actually, they're completely empty. Ah, this is a much better way to look at them. Still a couple of missiles left on this CL, which is going under the map. Maybe planning to go for E. Oh, there goes one line ship. This CL in a precarious position. Doesn't know that's over there. Meanwhile, this player is just waiting. Still plenty of firepower left on the OSP team. ANS has to be very careful here. Might actually be wise of them to kind of pull back a little bit, especially these CLs are very far extended away from the only other combat ship, which is the Axford. This Axford sort of, I suppose it's in range to missile strike A. They feel confident C is secure, and that means D is secure. So perhaps they are happy just to sit on A for now. CLs have hidden themselves as best they can behind the cover available. Oh, one of them was spotted. Looks like it's noping out of the way, though. And it will dodge that attack. ANS going to be in a tough position here shortly. All of the remaining firepower of OSP is converging on the A point, and there is not a lot to defend it. Meanwhile, this T-30 plasma combo has found this CL. It is not long for the world. Turrets are coming on, plasmas spinning to belch, and already damage is being poured on. At this range, plasma is going to slam into the CL, and between the 100 mil and the 250, it is going to die incredibly fast. And a missile, for good measure. Only 2 turrets still firing. All thrusters broken off. Someone rudely firing missiles. Unfortunately, not able to easily outmaneuver a line ship at this range. All they have to do is twist slightly and roll to keep these turreted guns on target, and they have more than enough mobility to do that with the yard drive. It most certainly has. So that is the end of that cruiser. See if the other ones are able to put up a better fight. This is an unusual position for ANS to be in. Typically, OSP jumps out to the early lead and then they get picked off and have to play the cap game. So it's an interesting reversal here. OSP, meanwhile, overall fairly healthy, and most of the missile complement on this Axford has been spent, meaning it's 450 dueling with line ships. Never a good position to be in, especially when there are so many of them. Good play by the OSP here. This fleet knows whatever's there, it can take it, and is just going to drive and cap D. Plenty of AMMs and other point defense able to shut down these small strikes. Meanwhile, the rest of the fleet pouring on fire. Grazer's doing a actually decent job there. Sort of surprising. Are these all Grazers? They are. We're contesting zone Atlas. Suppose if you take enough of them, they will get the job done. Meanwhile, torpedoes loosed. And another CL has jumped out, but it is swiftly being engaged by that T-30 plasma line ship. Meanwhile, the one down here has loosed the rest of its missiles. They're going to be easily cleaned up by the point defense. No strikes. The Axford is doing what it can, but it's almost certain that this CL is going to die, and OSP is going to take D, leaving them one greatly depleted Axford to fight an entire team of relatively healthy enemies. Does not look good for the ANS. Some plasma hitting, some rails hitting. Most of the forward-facing thrusters are dying. Which is dropping the speed of this Axford ever lower, meaning it is being hit by more and more and more. Meanwhile, the other CL has chosen to hide behind a rock. While the 450 Axford is unable to do much. This frigate might manage to cap E. Unfortunately, there are plenty of cap ships available for OSP. There are several tugs on the field. There are line ships which, unlike Axfords, can move at a very, very quick pace, especially under flank. The frigate is killed, meaning E is not going to flip, meaning OSP, when it inevitably takes C, will have an easy path to secure this game. That's pretty much it, except for cleanup. Hey. Oh, hi, Greasy. Sure. Oh, I cannot type to you. Oops. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. There will definitely be a VOD. Try not to offend anybody. So, in hindsight, definitely OSP has a commanding victory here. Unfortunately, that CL flank, which had the... Oh. Okay, game's over. That CL flank around that right-hand side from the OSP's perspective was on time and in a good position to cause a lot of chaos on the OSP side. Unfortunately, by fully extending all the way around the rock, and unfortunately, what looked like a friendly fire missile really spoiled that. If instead of committing and coming all the way around and engaging everything, they had just peeked around the rock, launched some missiles, and then sort of backed off. The missiles, once they're launched, they do, especially in numbers like they were, they do a great job of scouting for you. At that point, you could have seen the amount of point defense being fired back, possibly even the ships themselves, and then been able to see, okay, yeah, there's a ton of stuff there. If I push out, they're probably going to hurt me a lot, and if I go full on, I'm definitely going to die. So at that point, you can sort of back off. It forces them to reposition on a flank, opening up the center, opening up other avenues that your team can exploit. And unfortunately, instead, by coming all the way around into open space, they got obliterated, dealt very little damage. We can see here, this is a couple missile strikes, probably just on that one tug, which did get killed. And otherwise, were really ineffective and just got chewed up by everything that was there. These CLs did an okay job. It might have been a bit premature to split them up, considering how much was left on the OSP. Obviously, we have the ability to see everything in the map, so we know things that other players don't. But just in general, keeping a head count of how many ships have died